This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, I'm Justin Betty.
And I'm Stacy Van Dyke. Fargo City Hall lit in blue and yellow tonight in solidarity with Ukrainians in the community and around the globe.
Tonight, Ukraine is bracing for another round of Russian attacks, while the U.S. and other Western countries continue to debate how much to get involved, wanting to help Ukraine without provoking Russia. Melissa Rainey has the latest.
Air raid sirens becoming a part of everyday life in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. Explosions destroying dormitory and residential buildings Monday afternoon. Crude metal spikes surrounded by two walls of tires have been laid down across the main road into inner Hodar, Ukraine, as outmanned and outgunned Ukrainians put their lives on the line in towns across the country in attempts to stop the deadly advancement of Russian forces. Some people even using themselves to block roadways as they face heavy Russian artillery coming their way.
The Russians have not only experienced a stiff and determined resistance by the Ukrainians, but logistics and sustainment problems of their own.
Despite this, the Pentagon is warning that Russian President Vladimir Putin has significant combat power idling by.
He still has a lot that he hasn't moved into Ukraine. You want to talk about escalation? Let's talk about escalation. Mr. Putin is the one escalating this and continues to do so.
One sign of that, Putin has now ordered Russian deterrence forces, which includes nuclear arms, on high alert.
We've seen Mr. Putin's announcement. We believe it's as unnecessary as it is escalatory.
The White House says it wants to reduce the rhetoric and de-escalate after Putin's nuclear deterrence move.
Everybody knows that that is not a war that can be won.
Mr. President, should Americans be worried about nuclear war?
No. I'm Melissa Rainey reporting.
This week, we send things over now to First Alert Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson with details. Hutch.
Indeed, we're going to see changes throughout the entirety of our week with several chances of snow just about each and every day, the remainder of our forecast period. Here's a look at your temperatures today. We saw 35 to 40 degrees in our southern counties, 20s and even a few teens up to the north. Tonight, we have some cloudy skies overhead and some snow developing across the area and areas of fog. With our temperatures rising today, we melted a little bit of snow that added moisture to the lower atmosphere. Half-mile visibility in around the Carrington area right now. So patchy areas of dense fog will be possible mainly west of the Red River as we go through the early overnight hours. 12 the cold spot, Hallock, 27 still in Oaks. How about 30 still in Sisseton? We're not far from that in the FM area. Snow developing, not all of this reaching the ground, but where you see the dark blues here just to the west of Minot and possibly out there in Sheridan County, a few flakes may be reaching the ground. Here's a system we're watching for the weekend ahead. It's way out in the Pacific Ocean. Believe it or not, that is going to bring a chance of significant snow and wintry weather our way. Spotty flurries in the overnight hours in the FM area, but up north, I think we remain quiet for the most part. I'll have hour-by-hour details on hit and miss chances of snow all week long, and then, of course, an update on our First Alert weather days for Saturday and Sunday coming up here in just a little while.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
A West Fargo delivery driver is speaking out tonight. It's a story you'll only see right here on Valley News Live. He's hoping to prevent others from ending up like him over the weekend with a stolen and now beat up car. It all happened Friday night when 19-year-old Tyler Hodges was delivering for Jimmy John's in the 100 block of 7th Street East when West Fargo police say this man, 31-year-old Noel Sacita Jr., stole Hodges' car, eventually leading officers on a high-speed chase down Cheyenne Street and I-94.
Every time I close my eyes, I can still see the taillights of my car, specifically just driving off, and like me just running down the road, like yelling for them to turn around.
Hogna says he urges drivers to always have a way to lock your doors even when you leave your car running, and if you don't, he says, don't risk it. A Cass County judge gave Sacita Jr. a $1,500 bail in court today. He's expected to be seen again April 6th.
A Leonard man is behind bars after police say he shoplifted, robbed a man, and threatened to kill him with a torque wrench. Police say Friday around 5 in the evening, a 19-year-old man was leaving his job at O'Reilly's when the 31-year-old Isaac Swiftbird got in the vehicle, demanded money, punched the teen, and threatened him with that wrench. Police say Swiftbird was too drunk to even give them a statement, And when they arrested him, they found stolen items, both from O'Reilly's Auto Parts and the Come and Go convenience store gas station on Swiftburg. He faces now multiple felony and misdemeanor charges. We're learning more about an officer-involved shooting yesterday in Grand Forks. Officers say 37-year-old Joseph Espinoza was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries after a deputy shot him in the leg. This happened after police say he crashed a car going 90, then broke into a home, assaulted the residents there, stole their gun. When officers ordered him to drop the firearm, they say he pointed the gun at the deputies, who returned fire, or I guess fired their weapons. Both deputies are now on standard administrative leave while the matter is investigated.
Fire damaged nearly 24 vehicles early this morning at the Insurance Auto Auction salvage lot on 37th Avenue North. The fire went unnoticed until someone from a nearby business spotted the flames. At this point, investigators say there's nothing suspicious about that fire.
New at 10, since the CDC updated its masking requirements, many schools across the country are dropping their own mask requirements.
Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor explains what changes are happening at schools in our region. Nishay?
Stacy, Justin, masks have been optional for students and staff at West Fargo Public Schools. But tonight, the school board took a step further in changing the district's COVID-19 mitigation strategies. The school board voted unanimously to remove the option of requiring masks as a method of preventing the spread of COVID-19 in district buildings. Instead, the district will continue to follow some of its already implemented policies. This includes the district considering moving a grade level or entire school to a temporary distance learning plan if active cases reach 5% of the student and staff population. So far, district officials say they have seen a big difference in the number of COVID cases.
We started to see that our numbers were decreasing as a system. We're also seeing that the number of tests that were being taken for COVID in the system had also greatly declined.
Meanwhile, effective immediately, Fargo Public Schools are no longer requiring students to wear masks on school buses. An email was sent out to parents this morning with district officials citing the change is in accordance with the CDC's updated masking requirement. Stacy, Justin?
So much, Nishay. As of today, there are 4 students and 4 staff members in West Fargo schools with an active COVID case. As of Friday, 17 students and 3 staff members tested positive for COVID at Fargo Public Schools.
Canada has started loosening restrictions for travelers entering the country. Now, people still need to get a pre-entry COVID-19 test, but now the government is allowing the cheaper, faster antigen test.
As Sophia Harris reports, some people still find even that requirement unnecessary.
Last fall, Ontario snowbirds Diane and David Fine flew to the U.S. by helicopter and shipped their RV because the land border was closed. Now that it has reopened, they can drive home from Arizona, but they still face a hurdle, getting a pre-entry COVID-19 test.
We have no idea what the lineups are going to be like trying to get the antigen test. Are they even be able to have enough of supply to supply all the snowbirds coming back?
Starting Monday, travelers entering Canada can opt to take an antigen instead of a PCR test. Antigen tests are typically cheaper and easier to get, but critics argue it's time to scrap the test requirement for fully vaccinated travelers.
We're obviously cautious, and they should trust us.
So it just feels like it's over the top.
On Friday, several border town mayors joined the debate, calling for Canada to drop all pre-entry testing for land border travelers, arguing it's hurting the already devastated tourism industry.
Travelers are a lot like water. They're going to take the path of least resistance, and that may very well continue to include bypassing Canada.
Several medical professionals also support dropping the pre-entry test.
We're not really adding much, it's adding a lot of extra complication. We're not going to be keeping Omicron out or any other variant for that matter.
But the federal government says the test stays in place for now as a precautionary measure.
We must continue to exercise prudence. Let me be clear, our fight against the virus is not over.
Ottawa says it may further ease travel rules if pandemic conditions continue to improve. That leaves the Fines hopeful the pre-entry test will be dropped by the time they drive home next month. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Vancouver.
People in Minnesota's medical marijuana program will now be able to legally smoke it. In the past, dispensaries could only offer patients cannabis in pill, oil, or topical form. Now they can offer cannabis flowers or buds. Advocates say patients can benefit more from its medicinal properties, and selling cannabis in this form is cheaper. To be eligible for Minnesota's medical marijuana program, you must get approval from a nurse or doctor first.
Country superstar Tim McGraw will be at the Red River Valley Fair. He'll be performing July 9th. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 9 a.m. You can find a link to purchase them right on our website, valleynewslive.com, or on your free VNL News app.
Big act coming to the area. Canada is loosening restrictions for travelers. Later on Valley News Live at 10, we'll explain to you the hurdle they'll still be facing if they hope to cross the border.
And beginning this work week, we had a chance to melt some snow. Here's a look at where we sit as far as snowfall goes. Fargo above average for where we typically are this time of year, way above average in Grand Forks. We have several chances of light snow, and this storm system way out to the west could bring bands of heavy snow to the area. Your forecast is coming up next.